Hi, I'm Laura Simpson, and welcome to the Side Door Sit Down. Today, we have the amazing Ria May with us. Who I have benefited from knowing from kind of early days, maybe the earliest of days to now. And we're just going to talk about how Ria's career has gone from so many different places in this industry and how she's moved through that. So please welcome Ria May.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, I met, you were one of the first quote unquote industry people that I'd ever come in contact with. And it was by mistake because I think you overheard me complaining about the local scene in Halifax, right? Do you remember this?
Wait, no, tell me. I love this.
The story that I tell about this is, maybe we didn't meet this way, but I think you overheard me kind of I wasn't getting any opportunities, I felt, and I was just starting out, so of course I wasn't. And you overheard me and you were like, why don't you come to Music Nova Scotia tomorrow then? Because you were working at Music Nova Scotia. I came in like the next morning. I was like, all right, like, yeah, and you helped me, and I sort of, it was a good little, I get that way a couple times a year, like a poor me. And it was like a nice, there's always little gifts I find if I say it out loud. Someone's like, come on. Or you were one of those people that were like, dude, you just have to ask. Of course, if you don't ask, you're not going to get the thing. But yeah, it was super helpful. So that's my memory of when you and I first sort of start talking.
Okay, I only remember the day that you came in.
You don't remember the night? It was the night before I was drinking. And I thought, I also had this paranoia that you were like, she's not going to come in after all that wine. Well, kind of like, I'll show you. I probably showed up smelling like wine or something.
Okay. Wait, which venue were we at?
Company House.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and Music Nova Scotia was across the street and I lived around the corner. So it was a very sort of stumble.
Right. Anyway, this is what I remember. I remember that it was still the days of paper intake.
Yeah.
And you had to write your name, but then you had to write your artist name. And so you wrote your legal name.
Yeah.
And then you said, I think I'm going to go by Ria May. And I was like, that sounds great. And then you wrote it down as your artist name.
Whoa.
And then I was like, was that the moment that you decided that you're going to go by Ria May?
That's so, I don't remember that, but maybe I'm so indecisive, and I often, even naming my kid, the nurse at the hospital was like, you have to choose today. Like, he's like 10, he's too old.
That's not true. People used to wait. I've known people who've waited 2 weeks.
Yeah, we waited till the next time we came back to it was pretty long. It wasn't 2 weeks. But no, I don't remember, but I believe that sounds a lot like me.
I mean, choosing a name is a big deal.
I can't choose. I've never been able to choose names of anything. My new album coming out, it's called 2 because it's my second album. And self-titled was taken already. Yeah.
So tell me about where you're at right now, and maybe we can work backwards. Like, where do you find yourself today? Like the Ria May of today, like what is happening for you that, you know, like how would you describe yourself if you had to go up on stage and be like, hi, I'm Ria May, and this is where I'm at in my career?
Yeah, I think to sum up, I feel like I'm on phase 2 of a music career. Whereas phase 1, I spent years and years getting over shyness and trying to figure out how to write a song, figure out how to get on radio. And I sort of ticked all these boxes I wanted to do. And then I started getting really aware of the hamster wheel. Make some music, go on tour, make some money, and then your team wants you to spend the money in another country to try to make it there. Make some more music. You know, just this... I started losing, around the pandemic, I started losing clarity of why I was doing it. Like I didn't have the North Star anymore. And so then I started working with Terry McBride at Network doing A&R. And so I was signing people. The only rule for them really was signing outside of Canada. So I suddenly, as someone whose most of my career was in Canada, I was now working with artists anywhere but, different systems, different funding systems, and people mainly who made their money off of streaming on the master side. I was signed to a major, I was signed to Sony Canada, And so my split with them, I think, was 85% Sony, 15 me on the master side.
Oh shit. Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't as negative as it sounds because they had none of my I knew I was on the radio. They took zero publishing. They didn't take any of my live. So for me, I was like, if all you need is my Spotify money, which I just pretend it's not there anyway, it wasn't bad. So, and they had a big cut, so therefore they pushed it hard. But that was my only sense of like how a business could work. And then when I saw all these other people entering in 50-50 deals and releasing in such a different way and making thousands a month, you know, everyone at Network, has a minimum living wage where we make sure they have, I think it's like 3,400 a month maybe has to come off their streams. Like we're making sure no one has to have another job. And so in that way, I felt like I was like caring for artists and like helping people through, you know, struggling to their own stuff. And then I just realized I wasn't focusing on writing at all. And it just hit me. I was like, oh my God, my wife kept being like, I've never known you not to write for like even 2 weeks. It's been 2 months. And then it's been 3 months. And then I start to be like, it's fine. Like, stop asking me. And I just realized I had this big sadness and loss that I knew that I couldn't write about because I'd have to write about that. And I didn't want to think about that.
Oof.
Yeah. So I had it was amazing. I think I'll look back and be like, this year was so meant to be. But I ended up leaving at the year mark. They asked me to be in a management position and I kind of fell back in my seat. I wanted it, but my gut was like, not yet. So I sort of went back to the drawing board. I took about a year to just write. And then I'm starting again. I bought myself out of my major label deal. I let go of my manager who I had for 10 years. I let go of my business manager. I now do my QuickBooks. I take a QuickBook lessons from an accountant for a couple hours every month. And I just am trying something else. And I think so far it's going well. It's just a very different, I've just sort of scrambled everything up and I'm trying something very different. So I feel like I'm in phase 2 of the career. And that was a very long answer to your question.
That's amazing. Can I pick it apart a little bit, this answer?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, it sounds like that was a process in deciding, but I think you alluded in that answer to having maybe a gut instinct moment of like, can you tell me what that was of like, understanding how big a step it was going to be and how much change it was going to require? Like, what was the tipping point for you?
To leave the A&R and come back to music? Is that
just to make that separation, to go out on your own?
I think I knew I was I kept telling everybody I was done and I knew I was lying and I knew I wasn't doing my best. Like everyone started posting on socials, TikTok and Instagram, and I just didn't know how. And I think my ego started saying, oh, that's stupid. I hate the music industry. And it wasn't that. It was, I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to do this. And so I think I needed to really reflect on that. And I don't know. I think I knew I was not being truthful in that moment. I couldn't even look at the woman who was asking me to, do something I thought I was working towards. So yeah, and it's easy to put into a story now. I mean, I was like in therapy about it, like I was like so confused. Like, am I like someone that's just sabotaging everything that comes into my life? Sabotage my music career, sabotage my A&R career. But yeah, I just now know like I just was not ready to walk away from it. And I was also trying to buy this is funny. I was trying to buy a small business and I was researching and getting my dad's help and like, how do you buy, like a plumbing business or like, I just want a business because I love business. I love sales. I love figuring new things out. And I woke up one morning and I was like, you stupid, you have a small business and it allows you to write, which is my two favorite things. And I just like, I swear it was that morning. I was like, this is the dumbest thing. Like, I can't believe myself. And I think too, with having kids, like there's a confidence, like I've become a lot more confident. Like my identity isn't tied up in music anymore. It's tied up in being like, a good parent and among other things. And I don't know. Everything came together where I just felt ready to ask for help in the ways that I wasn't excelling in, socials being one of them. Like, marketing is not my thing, and self-promotion is hard for every artist. And so I've hired out for that stuff, but then let people go who were doing things that I thought I was better at. Coming from A&R, I had a manager who was so good in this past era. She has managed Sarah McLachlan, who we just spoke about, and Diamond Avril, and she just didn't have that fire to learn what's happening now. And why would she, And Network is like booming as a label. They've figured out how to make kind of the negative parts of streaming work for them and their artists. And they're getting more and more outside funding, and the money that was coming in and giving to artists was incredible. And I totally see why for my management team, it made the excitement wasn't there for this career that I was sort of stuck in an old way. So I had a really big week, and I kind of let everyone go. I let everyone go except for my booking agent, who is, for me, my booking agent is my North Star. They're the people that strategize all the stuff with me that, is probably 75% of my income. So it's basically just me and my lawyer and my booking agent and this woman, Hannah, who does my socials and a lot of my marketing, because I'm not a marketer. And it's great. The things I hate, I don't do, and the things that I feel like I'm good at and I get to do. And it feels like a small business, and I love it.
That's so great. I'm so happy for you. And also, it feels like it was a really good exercise in stripping back to the essence and then rebuilding.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's just such a big vulnerability in that too, of, I had A-level management and I had a major label, and I see friends, I've seen other people, they get stuck, and I never understood it until I went through it. You have a budget to do a video for, $50,000, and then all of a sudden you don't have that budget. So it's like, do I really want to put out a video that I'm shooting? I'm going up to More Classified and his brother are shooting a video for me by their house. Great. You know what I mean? But like, I'm glad they're good at stuff, but I couldn't just like my wife to shoot a video. And I think there's like a humbleness. You have to be okay with things not being as glossy. But luckily, we're in an era that is really prefers like realness, I think.
Absolutely.
So I feel there's like I'm dealing with a bit of good luck in the type of, things that people are looking for, I guess. And the fact that it's so easy to reach people online, like much easier than, the algorithms are making it a bit harder lately, but much easier than it has been in past times. So yeah, anyway.
There's a couple of things that maybe I can pull together there. Is you touched on money in a couple of situations, and I think there's a real struggle with artists right now to keep it real, but also make money. And I'm interested in like your thoughts around like how Network, as you said, was trying to offer a minimum living wage. That's, I don't think, super common, but like maybe the importance of having that foundation versus, and also you mentioned a lot of your income is from live these days, but that also takes investment and a mental toll. So like, where are your thoughts these days on just making enough money, and what is enough is a really movable term, I think.
Yeah, it's always, God, I have these conversations with young artists all the time, especially young artists that I see like spending a bunch of money to go play a showcase or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I was talking about running things like a small business. Like I don't do anything that I also have kids and my wife doesn't work. So there's a base layer. I think that's lucky. Like I think it gives me a different perspective where if someone's like, can you come out and play this for a couple $100? No, I can't, but I think, every career is different. I make a lot of my money on shows, and then there's radio royalties. I haven't made a lot on streaming, but some people do. So when I would be doing these meetings, I would have meetings with probably 7 to 15 artists a week around the world when I worked with Network. And it was people who were able to write their own songs and produce their own songs and able to constantly be churning out music. So it would be a kid who would every 5 weeks would have a song, and the algorithm after about 4 or 5 would hit. And then, all the A&R's computers would get ding. Oh, someone in India is streaming 200. That's weird. And their music sounds a lot like this artist. So we're doing sort of the math, and then we reach out to them, and network was able to offer, we're able to show whether or not we can grow your streams, and we couldn't do that. Some people would reach out to us and I'd show them, I'm like, you can sign with us, but look, you're not even on our map. So we're not probably going to help you.
Yeah.
And the negative is the network deals. And I think this is public, but we only have one deal. It's like 20 years long, which nowadays, the last couple of years, a lot of people that repulses them, that someone would be licensing their music for 20 years.
They run it kind of like a VC is how I understand. It's like a lot of small bets, but based on data.
It's very,
big ownership. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very based on data and very, so like trying to think of how much I should say and how much I shouldn't to not be sued or something. So like we would have these weekly meetings there was like 14 A&Rs, and we worked every Monday. We had to come in and present who we wanted to sign. So we're signing a lot of people, but we don't want to sign someone that we don't think we can help. So there's a lot of math, and every artist not only had an A&R, but they had like a technical person, like a data reader. So they could ask them any questions. Because it was worked in so many time zones, it was like a nimble, someone would get a TV show in London and maybe the Vancouver show is done working. So, okay, Team London, we need this, featured on Spotify tomorrow, like just quick. So anyway, going back to really what you asked, I think you have to really see where your money's coming from and focus on that. Like I could focus on putting a song out every 4 weeks, but I produce my songs, but I need helpers to mix my songs and master my songs. So it's going to cost me, I think, minimally $1,000 a track. So am I, and I haven't seen it. So my small business mind is like, am I going to put, so let me think here, $12,000 just trying to write and regurgitate stuff that maybe I don't even love, but I need a song to make my deadline. That's never worked for me, and it's never made me money. So it's not my focus. I don't have a publishing deal right now because I don't make that. The amount of film placements I've had, maybe 3 or 4 in my life, whereas not having a publisher, all my royalties go to me. Like I have a song on radio now, it's 100% written by me, and no one else is even adminning it. So like I'm very, I guess, good at making sure no one's hands are in those things in my live or in my publishing. And everything else, for me, I just try not to spend too much, and I try to maybe like partner instead. Like I signed with a distributor. My music's on like a distributor. I think it's a sub of Universal, and I didn't want any advance or any money. I just wanted a tiny percentage, and I wanted them to do the work that I don't want to do. I don't want to think about awards. I don't want to think about playlists. I would love if I never talked to Spotify again in my life. But last year I released an EP and I had to do the meetings by myself. And there's something, I just want people to like me, and I don't like asking for anything I've never have. So if I'm talking to and I'm in an age group where everyone that works at these places, they're my friends, they're my age. It's a great time to be a musician when everyone else is your age because there's an ease. I'm not like, hello, sir, please help me. It's kind of like, yo, Jill. How's it been? Okay, I need to tell but at the same time, I don't want to say, Jill, please, this song has to be on New Music Friday. Like, I don't want that relationship. So anyway, I think musicians, I always think that, you should look really closely at the numbers. And if something is making you money, just like do that, triple down. Don't have like a romantic idea of like, oh, I'm going to be in, sign with a publisher and be in all these films, or I'm going to tour. If you're not selling out shows in your hometown and losing money, then maybe you're not a touring artist in this era. I wasn't. I had to stop touring when I lost money before I got my Sony deal. I kept losing money and I don't have money. There was no money to lose. So I said, I guess I can't do this. So I think I'm just really realistic with that stuff. And I don't put out videos. I put out things I film on my phone or my friends help me with. And that's it. That's it right now. It's like, it's really a time when I feel like you have to be frugal. And, a lot of the advice I give to young artists is like, learn how to produce your own songs so you're not paying $2,000 to someone else, because that expense is really hard to get back if you're not touring. Like, where is that going to come from? You're not going to get it back.
These are the hard facts that I really think it's hard for people when their art is so tied to them personally that it's really hard to realize that you are a small business owner and an artist, and those are two separate roles. And if they intertwine too much, it can be really, really complicated to make good decisions,
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned data. So like, there's a lot of vanity metrics out there, and there's a lot of vanity, like, awards and opportunities and that sort of thing. So like, how do you sort of rate and review this stuff that's coming in now that you didn't do when you were younger?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be really secure being bad at some things. You can't be good. Like, my Spotify is not very big compared to a lot of my friends, Other people that have maybe had the radio success of me, a lot of them are having 2 million, 3 million streams a month. I don't know if they're legit. I don't know where those come from, but I know that I don't make money from it. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's also like a blessing when you don't have time to worry about certain things. I can't, whereas like, we're pushing a song to radio right now, and I'm trying to sell. It's just because I know a lot of musicians, you said, listen to this podcast. There's like a strategy that I was explaining to a younger artist yesterday, where if I sell out my entire tour, I'm going to have a way better price that summer for festivals. And so a lot of this is, my agent will call. I talk to my agent probably every day or every 2 days, and she'll say, all right, these ones are going great. Let's stop advertising for a bit. Let's put all the money in this city. This city needs to go because this person's coming out. And there's a lot of that those are the details I'm in right now. And once the tour is sold, I'm going to not think about that for months. I'm going to start thinking about how can I make the best festival show and make it better than before, and have my lighting be a little bit better, because maybe I'll have an extra $5,000 in my price, and I can use half of that for lighting and half of that for, I don't know, bottles of wine. And then I'll come back and I'll just focus on, for me, you said before, how much is enough money? Like, when I can get moments of 4 to 5 months where I'm not worried about money and I can just write, I feel like that's what I do everything for. So if I was doing my plumbing business, I would be working my butt off so that I could have like November, December, January, February just to write. Every day to write, stay up as late as I want, drink too many coffees, get anxious, write an anxiety song. That's my happy place. Like, that's my everything. So I think for me, it's just personally is stability. And, I love that thing where every couple years you might get a lucky clump of money. What do you do with it? It's all like the same game to me. But yeah, I keep going on tangents. You have really good questions. So like, my brain's like, oh. But
what I'm hearing so far too is it's really a great combination of, you get a good result when you put restrictions on it. So you have a few restrictions now, which is your team has now been restricted. You have a family, which gives you boundaries. Your age, you're at an age where you feel a little more confident, and that gives you a little more, the confidence gives you the ability to say things. So that, like, these restrictions around your career maybe help it be a little more successful. Whereas when you're younger and it's a little bit easier to be swayed in one direction or another, and you're open, you don't have any responsibilities, maybe it's a little bit.
Yeah, there's almost too many options. And I think as a young artist, you should take everything. Oh, someone wants, you should go to a festival in Germany, and then you should go try and do a tour in Ontario, and then try to go down to LA if you're invited to a writing camp. But I think, yeah, maybe that's the point that I'm at, is like, I'm not interested in going on a 10-week tour. I have kids. I don't want that lifestyle at all. I'm not interested in, if I have a track that sparks internationally, like if I start getting on the charts in Germany, fuck yeah, I'm going to double down and we're going to go to Germany. I'm going to write a grant for it, knowing that I'll break even and I'm going to dig in, but I'm not just going to willy-nilly do random things, and there is something powerful about, some pretty cool. My thing now is I'll say no if, like there was a festival in the UK I'm thinking of, and there was one in Wales and there was one in Boston, and all three, the money was like, and then I wrote back and said, can I take my family? Like, I will do this for hardly any money, but if it's a family trip, I'll feel good about it, And so like I took my kids I was on tour for like 6 weeks and we went down and did this Boston tree lighting, and it was just like a fun event. And so like the things that mean more to me now are just like, it's like, show me the money because I'm a parent, but it's also like, what from this career can also bring my family happiness and, these like cool things that happen if you're in entertainment. And so I think the restrictions of that as well, going back to what you said, is knowing what makes me happy, knowing what I'm working towards, and knowing what I won't do. I think that's the best place you can be as like an entrepreneur, is because you're not just grabbing and clinging at anything. It's like, I know what my goal is this year. It's to sell my 2 tours. It's to, maybe I'll buy another property in the summer, or I'll invest it, or I'll get another idea. And then I'll get this lovely, amazing period of time I can look forward to where I can work on the next project. And I know that along the way, the things I say yes and no to, and I don't think a young artist could maybe get to that, but I think that is the end goal, to be a working musician, not like a super famous, Katy Perry sort of thing.
Yeah. And I think that's good to actually underline is we're not generally aiming for that, and people shouldn't generally aim for that because it's just such a lottery ticket that happens to people.
It is. And I think I've been lucky enough I think everyone should have, if it's not a mentor, it's just someone in your life that you see do their job in a way that you admire. And like, I'm around Classified so much. So Classified's like a Canadian hip hop artist for people that aren't in Canada. And he's very well known here. I've seen him say no to opportunities outside the country for that same thing. I've seen someone call with like a $200,000 advance to come down and play these few festivals in the States. And he was like, in a van? I'm not doing that, bro. I'm too old. He was like 34, too old. I'm not doing it. And, he knows what he wants. He owns, does he own half of Enfield? I think he has a great life. And I watch him like take full advantage and be happy. He brought me out on tour where he's just happy every second. Like, we've all seen musicians who just aren't happy. They're on tour and they're mad because of the sales, or they're mad they didn't get the grant. It's too hard of a business to not be happy. So he's just like, he's happy. He appreciates it. And I see him just be really frugal in a way that young artists might not. Like, you're like, well, what is it? Like, even with me, I'm booking a Halifax show and he's on the phone on his calculator being like, I don't know, you got to tell him this, try to put in like 50 more seats, because like, he's like to the penny,
Yeah.
And I love that, because I think if I didn't have him in my life, I'd feel insane. Like I'd be like, is this normal that I should be doing this? Like, and he just really ups my game of budgeting. Like he's very good at budgeting and knowing the exact money he's walking away with and which merch item sells better. So he's going to make 3 of those next tour. He's just so good at it. Like, he's way better than anyone else I've met. So I think I think a good advice for young artists too would be to find someone that's like doing it and making money, and like just ask them. Like, be like, can you, just ask them how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Most people want to teach people. Like, I love talking about it. Like, I'm proud that I've gotten to a point where I can like pay my bills, but it is not what people think. And it's not just, it's a lot of numbers and number crunching and not doing the thing. Oh God, I would love a horn section, but that ain't happening. The budget's gone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like it's important to Goldilocks your way through the early years and try things out when you can and figure out what you do want and you don't want. But maybe, do you have, if you can think about the young Ria who showed up that day at Music Nova Scotia, like what would, like, not anybody, not any artist, but for you, like what would you go back and triage at that point of your life just to sort of carry you through in a way that maybe is a little more sustainable and less like mind breaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like almost like what could I fast forward if I did differently almost? So you mean like
Well, not, I really do. Like I say, I believe in Goldilocksing your way through things. But like one thing I say about myself, which I'm still working on, is like if I didn't whinge so much about decisions before I make them, I think I would be a lot better off. Like I pre-stress about stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, what are the things that maybe you can think about for yourself at that stage that you spent a lot of negative time on, you know?
Yeah, geez. I think there's like three thoughts at the same time. I think I spent a lot of time in my head feeling like some things were like against me without asking for help. I think I did an okay job at reaching out, but I certainly am better at it now. If I see something I can't do, I don't try to learn it or feel bad about myself. I immediately pick up the phone and be like, sweet, I get to talk to this person for an hour because they know something I don't. I think I spent a lot of time, I don't know, I always just like, I think posting like visual videos and doing things I didn't like to do, and I'm agonizing over how I look. Like I just, you know, and I've let that go, but just like I think a lot of things stopped me because I wasn't comfortable with myself or my age or my anything. I don't know. I felt really stuck for a long time. Maybe I should have just gone to therapy. Maybe that's a question I should have done quicker. There's elements of like, I am indecisive, but I think I am glad, you know, the process of finishing songs for me can be painful, especially like the relationships with the producers. Painful. Like I can't even open my email sometimes after some changes have been made. Just, I don't like confrontation and everything feels like confrontation to me. So I think that if I have worked on confrontation and maybe therapy earlier on and recognized that I have all these things in the way that aren't real, then I think things would have been easier, but it is what it is. I'm like a weirdo and I have lots going on, and maybe that's why I still write all the time at this age. But yeah, I don't know. I think asking for help, and you know, I wish someone could have shown me the year that I learned that you know this, that when I was 30, I got this big record deal and I had a very big, oh my God, like when you're pulled out of I never even traveled before, you know, like I remember going to a psychic when I was like 28. She's like, oh, you're going to be worldly. And I was like, okay, well, you're wrong about that. I've never been on an airplane. You know, like I didn't have that. And I think once I saw the rest of the world and saw the industry for what it was, and I wish everyone could get that. There's little kids, not little kids, they're in their 20s, that ask me for advice all the time. Like, man, just come on the tour with me and like, let me shake it. Like the thing that you're stuck on makes no sense. And you just can't get that perspective until someone gifts it to you sometimes. So, sorry, I'm rambling, but I'm just thinking about things that I've been stuck on for so long that I wish were only a short stick, but really took years and years to do. But yeah, like I'm about to release my second album ever, so I think I'm just slow. You know, I think.
But also, like that thing that you just said may offer a gentle adjustment to the thing that wasn't real. Like that, like saying that wasn't real. I mean, of course, those feelings, those barriers were real, but I mean, it feels like to me that you just learned how to channel them in different ways, and that energy is moved in different ways, and you're songwriting about it, and it's not like they might come up still, but you know how to manage it, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. I can manage it better. It's like I can feel myself about to self-promote, but this has to do with the story. So I have a new song called...
You should self-promote.
Okay. I just, on this kind of a podcast, I don't want to be like, I have a new song called The Ring, and that's literally from like a few months ago. I felt really like, I have not told them this, but like I was talking to my agent and I felt really like there was a big confrontation. Like he told me, he was like, bring your energy down. Like I was really angry about something I had planned and they didn't plan with me. I didn't realize there was a miscommunication with the manager I had and blah, blah, blah. Human stuff. At the end of the day, me not having the skills to have communicated with every one of the people that I work with the same story, I guess. But I felt really hard done by. Is that it? And I just felt really, I had to we hung up the phone and I wrote the ring. Like, it was about, it's like, well, just angry and just like, God, I want to fight everybody. And I just like, I know now that I'm not going to carry that. That's going to be the song. And then I went that night and I apologized to my agent. Like, it's my most important relationship of my career. They've been with me through everything. They do not need to book my tiny tours. They have the biggest, you know what I mean? Like, so I think yeah, you nailed it. It's like I can take that and channel it. That's the songwriting. That's the weird reality that is not need to come with me through my day. And my wife doesn't need to hear about me being like, my agent didn't do that. Like, no, shut up. Like, so I think, I don't, I try just to get all the bad feelings in the art and then, only the loving feelings are true or whatever yogis say. Mm-hmm. And that, the rest is hopefully positive during the day. But I mean, I have a lot of inner turmoil and a lot of that stuff that, you saw when we first met for a tiny, tiny bit of it, but you saw like the tip of the iceberg and underneath I was probably just like angry all night, but not showing anybody because I'm very good at not showing people my emotions. Yeah. I'm talking way more than I ever talk on stuff like this, Laura.
Right.
It's therapy.
I mean, I hope that's okay.
Yeah. I did some like, oh my God, what am I talking about? Okay.
First of all, I can't wait to hear that song because I think we all need to be able to observe and sit with anger in a way that a lot of us are not doing these days. There's a lot of like passing the buck of anger. It's just like, no, I'm angry at you and now you're angry at that person. Like, that. So, but maybe we can end on future looking things. Like now that you've gone through all of this and you've made these decisions and you're on phase 2, like, you've talked about like thinking 4 or 5 months and ahead in terms of budget, but what are you thinking in terms of timeline for the future and like, what does that look like for you?
I think now that I was unable to produce my own music before. And now that it makes me so happy to know I never have to like fly somewhere to finish my own song. I have this really overly positive, I guess, vision of just creating music in my little backyard studio and releasing it as often as I want or don't want and keeping my cute little Canadian touring career going. Opening myself up to being more like, like of a brand and like doing cross promotion things and just thinking smaller and smarter. And I don't know. I think I know I'm not like trying to be toxic positivity because I know the industry is really hard. And I have a strange hopefulness always. And I know that I'm saying this knowing how hard it is. It's the hardest time to make money. But it's not impossible. And I think with just knowing there's way more in your control than you think, if a lot of people want to help you, myself included, like if anyone would reach out to me, I will Zoom them immediately. Like lots of people want to help. And I don't know. I think it's great. I do think that live is going to be there for a long time. I think with AI and everything going crazy, like I feel that people are interested in coming to see shows more. That's my perspective. And someone might have a different reality. Like, like you said, your reality is your truth like that. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like people just want human truth. And I think my shows have become a lot more like talky, like I'll ramble a little bit more. But I just feel like that's the stuff with the way the world is going, like that's what we don't have enough of. Like we're losing our like humanness. So it's like these little moments where, you can bring it back. I don't know. I feel hopeful. I think it's a great time. I know it sounds insane. I think it's a great time to do music. And I just think you need to be real with yourself and like, don't do what I do sometimes and like, you know, take full responsibility for your unhappiness or the things that aren't working. You know, there's many times I've thought like, God, I should be doing this or I could be doing this. But like at the end of the day, I didn't tell my manager that, or I didn't tell my agent that I was rubbed the wrong way, that this tour was presented to me in this way, or I didn't like, I think the more responsibility you can take and just, it gives you like empowerment to know that there's things in your control and anything's possible. If I can get signed at 30 years old and get on the radio, like anything is possible. Like that's how I feel. But what else?
I love that.
I hope someone hears that and doesn't get angry and instead gets.
I think it's very inspiring. And I think I was just talking actually to my brother about finding your highest and best self. And I think you're there. It feels like you're arriving at that. So congratulations.
Thank you. That makes me so emotional. I feel that way too. Thanks for saying that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time today.
I had therapy this morning too, Laura. So it's like my whole day has been just like great conversations. I hope this interview turns out it's not just me rambling. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.